you've just come up with this most incredible story, just in detail. I don't know. Is the reason you've not written a memoir of these?
Well,
I know you did a
I'm
one-man
too
show.
busy.
But
Every time I think, oh, you know what, I'll take 6 months off. I never get. As soon as I decided that, then there's an offer of something that I quite like, and I go, oh, it's so much fun being an actor. Who wants to sit in a lonely room, going through all this?
Malcolm Adele, hello. Thank you for spending time with me. How do we find
Absolutely.
you?
Huh?
How do we find you? Are you well?
Oh, well, yes. I mean, look, it's a minefield at my age, but so far, so good.
Well, keep
Who
avoiding the
knows?
mines.
Who
We need you.
knows?
We need you. While I was waiting to come on, I've been reading about your getting the star on Hollywood Boulevard in 2012 and
Oh,
how your star was outside the Pig and Whistle pub on
which
Hollywood
is now
Boulevard. But
gone.
is it? I didn't know this.
Yeah,
But I didn't appreciate, as someone who lived in Ormskirk for 3, 4 years,
the Bull
that
and
you were
Dog.
in Burscough, just
Yes.
down the road. And so I'm trying to process how many people from Burscough ended up with a star, or who lived in Burscough ended up with a star on the Hollywood Walk of
Well,
Fame.
to be honest, I didn't really live in Burscough because when my father took this pub, the Bull and Dog,
Yeah,
I'd already left to be an actor. So I
yeah.
never really lived. I mean, I stayed there, when I went home to see my parents at Christmas or whatever, but I never lived there, and so
It's not
I never got to really get the treats of Burscough or Ormskirk.
I tell you, there you are in Hollywood. You completely missed out there. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also from Birmingham. That's my hometown, and I hadn't appreciated you were in Crossroads as well.
Oh,
Deep
yes,
in the
I
distant
was.
past. Just
Yeah.
tell me. I know I'm supposed to ask about Clockwork Orange and stuff like that, but tell me about working on Crossroads as a young actor.
Well, I was a young actor. I would have done anything. And
Yeah,
it was a very nice producer, um, Peter Rogers, his name.
yeah,
And he was always, excuse me, very nice to me and always putting me up for parts in things that he had going on. And
yeah.
suddenly it was would I go and do, I think two, or I can't remember how many I did. I think it was only two. And I worked with, you won't believe it, Jenny Agutter. She was the girl I was working with, and she was literally 14.
Yeah,
And
incredible. And
I know we talked about it actually. When did I last see her? Oh, well, it must be 30 years or 40. I don't know. We laughed about it,
yeah,
we'd both been in it and we knew each other from it. I got where I really got my break
yeah,
was in Dixon of Dock Green.
yeah,
And I kid you not, it was a wonderful part of a youth who'd stolen money. And
yeah.
it came out that he stole money for his pregnant girlfriend who was only 17 or something. And that to try and have a life together, the only way he could do it was to steal.
Yeah.
And it was really a wonderful part, troubled youth and all the rest. So many things going on, the father, the mother thing and all. And one of the best casting directors in England, Miriam Brickman, saw it
Yeah.
by chance, I guess. I mean, who watches Dixon of Dock Green? And she
Lots of
saw it.
people once upon a time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, she called me in and I to audition for Poor Cow. And
Okay.
I think anyway, I didn't. I got the part, but they cut the scene from the movie, so it wasn't my first film. My first film was saved for the great one,
Yeah.
If
But Paul
Lindsay
Paul
Anderson.
Cow Well, Paul Cow, of course, crossed you with Terence Stamp, who we've just lost.
Yes,
So, I mean,
dear
were you
Terry.
close? Well, I don't want to drag you into a morbid place, but can you just give me a line or two just on working with him, particularly so early on that film?
Well, I did not come across him on the film.
Yeah.
My stuff didn't involve him, but I mean, look, it's Terry Stamp, I mean, they shared, everybody knows the story. Here, the man who shared the flat, with Michael and these two, and now I did know Michael. I knew him quite well, and because we had the same agent. So any
Right.
dinners and all that, we used to get together. Great story, actually. And the agent, his sister was having a 70th birthday.
Yeah.
And so the agent invited all the A-list clients to go to a private room at Julie's restaurant, Penzance Place, to take the private room. And it was Peter Sellers, I think Sean
No.
Michael, all these clients. And there were like, I think maybe 18 or 20 of us. And he always put me next to Peter Sellers because he knew that I knew that he was, high and low and he'd be asleep at the table. I wouldn't take umbrage because, hey, Peter Sellers, what are you? And Peter
Yeah.
loved me because we starred in Stanley Kubrick movies and he thought it was a very exclusive club. And so we're there and Peter is literally got his forehead in the soup. I mean, he's just literally like this. So I was talking to this producer sitting on my other side. And suddenly one of the women jumped up and went, "Oh my God, I've lost my diamond stud." Everyone, oh, and the whole place started looking for this diamond stud. Suddenly, Peter Sellers came to life, went around accusing everybody of stealing the diamond stud. And it was literally, I looked over at Michael and tears were running down his cheeks. It was as if one were watching Charlie Chaplin or something.
Yeah.
It was pure genius. It was just extraordinary. And he
I,
went
I've
around the
just,
whole room. And her
I've
name
just,
was Rhoda. And he was saying she pissed in her whiskey and soda or Rhoda. Yeah, amazing. Amazing.
I,
Anyway, one of the great memories I've got, actually.
I mean, I've been listening in the last few days. I found an old audio recording of Barry Norman. I think it was one of his
Oh,
after dinner speeches, and he just said the three people he just didn't get on with in the end were Peter Sellers, Robert De Niro, and John Wayne. And the stories of Peter Sellers were just as eccentric,
oh yeah.
incredible.
He was, he was bipolar.
Yeah,
And I went out a lot with him because he goes, well, we'll get Malcolm to come. And,
yeah,
the agent would go, you're free on smoking his pipe. You free on Wednesday night? I'll go, yeah, well, what's the, well, we've got a table out in the country. Oh, what was it called in Bray? The Waterside Inn.
yeah,
The nearest thing to a three-star restaurant you could get in London at the time. And off we drive. It took an hour to get there. And you get there and Peter, hey, Peter. Mm. And, it's funny because he said to me, Malcolm, I could walk into a room with 40 women. And one of those women is poison for me. And I'll walk right up to her and ask her to marry me.
Hey, Malcolm Riddell, you did a what?
And
I mean,
that night, my date, the person I took because I was working with her, was Lynn Frederick. And
yeah,
Lynn, and then Peter goes, who's the girl? I went, well, we're working together. We're doing this film, Voyage of the Damned. And he
yeah,
goes, oh, why don't you come back to my flat after that? So we went back and he was searching for a joint or something. I went, we're fine. We don't need, and I said, Lynn, he goes, no, I'll get her home. He ended up marrying her.
good grief.
Yeah, good
Good,
grief.
Good grief.
Well, and
I,
get this. So I didn't see him. I then go to LA. I'm doing a movie in LA, and I walk into this restaurant, Ma Maison. I walk into the restaurant, and there's Lynn, who jumps up, comes and gives me a big hug, and
yeah,
goes, "Oh, darling, how are things?" Blah blah. Well, she goes, "I'm leaving, Peter. I can't do it anymore." I went, "Oh, I'm sorry." She goes, "You see the man who I'm having lunch with?" And I went, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, that's my lawyer." Now, that was on a Wednesday or something. He died that weekend, and he never knew what was going
good
on.
grief.
And it's funny, Lynn arrived in the widow's, weeds with the whole black
Yeah,
thing, and never gave the kids the time of day. They got nothing. And she was about to divorce him. And nobody knew except that lawyer and me, I guess, and her immediate friends.
good grief.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
is
really,
wild. It's a wild story.
I don't even know how to process that. Can I ask? I mean, we've just been talking for what 5-10 minutes,
Hmm.
and we started at Burscough. And you've just come up with this most incredible story, just in detail. I don't know. Is the reason you've not written a memoir of these?
Well,
I know you did a
I'm
one-man
too
show.
busy. Every time I think, oh, you know what, I'll take 6 months off. I never get, as soon as I decided that, then there's an offer of something that I quite like, and I go, oh, it's so much fun being an actor. Who wants to sit in a lonely room going through all this. But I did do a remembrance
With the Lindsay Anderson
performance.
show. Yeah,
Yes, and in a way, that is my biography in a way, because he meant the most to me, and that was my absolutely crucial kind of relationship I had, with a
yeah.
great director. And he was a great friend, and he was such a great man, and taught me a lot about just what was going on. And
And you've not done that show for what, about 10-15 years or so since you
well,
performed that?
they filmed it. I don't have to do it anymore, thank God.
Yeah.
I just show the DVD.
Well,
That's
if
why
ever
I
you want,
filmed it. I mean, I can't
I
keep doing this. And
completely get it.
yeah, it was strange. Some people liked it, others were offended. But there were certain things that had to be said. I mean,
Yeah.
look, whatever.
I tell you, if you ever need someone to write your memoir, I'm sticking my hand up. This has been the most fun already. You talked about another interesting thing comes in, which kind of distracts you from writing a memoir or something like that. I presume the Partisan, just to talk about the movie
Oh,
we're here
yes.
for,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was one of those interesting things that came in. It's been in
Yes,
your life for about
yes. I've
three
always
years or
wanted
so,
to
I think.
play a spy. I've never played one.
Have you not?
And I can understand why, because I'm a useless spy, actually, if the truth be known. I mean, I can act like, been there, done that, and now I'm retired and I'm telling them all what to do. But of course, the truth is, I love to gossip. So I'd be
Yeah,
going, oh my God, and the uniforms. So I would be useless at it, actually. But but I must say, it's one of these things that you kind of do just on intuition. I
yeah,
read it. I thought, wow, what an incredible woman. What I
yes,
really, and it's a true story based on. I've got to do this. I mean, we've got to honor this person. And
yeah,
I've always loved Poland and the Poles. I've always had an affinity with them.
yeah,
And I've always loved going there. I went there 40 years earlier and made a movie there. And played actually a Wehrmacht general. Another
yeah.
true story. But and weirdly enough, on my first day of shooting Partisan, the costume lady came with
Yeah.
pictures of the last thing I'd done in Krakow 40 years earlier, or 35, whatever it was.
Good grief.
and said it was my father who was the costume designer.
No.
Yeah, and that really freaked me out. So great. Yeah.
That's special, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's not,
exactly. So even if the movie never comes out, I have that. But the great thing is that I got to work with Morgane, who's fantastic,
yeah,
terrific actress. I love working with them. We had fun, you know. We had a lot of fun doing it, and but I mean, there's a great tradition of Englishmen playing spies, of course.
yeah,
From but the one that will always be in the memory is, of course, Alec Guinness.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
you can't get
yes,
around it.
yeah,
You can't get around it.
yeah,
Even if I haven't seen it for 50 years, it's Alec Guinness. It's got to be, because he was so indelible, so extraordinary.
yeah. I mean,
And
there's a point in the Partisan where I don't want to spoil the film for people because I didn't know this story, so I'm giving
yeah,
as little plot away as possible. But there's a bit where you're lying on the ground covered in dust. There's bits of fake blood. You've been pummeled a little bit, and I just and talking to you now, there's so much youthful exuberance and
mm,
enthusiasm in the work. I mean, there is another life where you could just be sitting with a cup of coffee and not be covered in all sorts of crap on the floor and stuff like that. Does that ever
yes.
appeal?
I think I would last about 10 minutes. I'd be dead.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like people that retire, they spend all their
yeah,
life waiting for the retirement, that 2 months later they just drop dead.
yeah.
Um, I honestly love what I do. And if they're still asking me to do it, I'll do it. You know, I still think in my 80s now, sitting on a film set, and I look around and I think, I wonder if I'm ever going to be found out.
You really think that?
Kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm being,
No,
but I
I
always
get it.
think
But
I either think that, or now I usually think, and they're paying me.
well, you're also and Malcolm McDowell now. You're in that royalty of actors where you
Yeah,
get
I
the and
guess.
in the credits. And I asked a director about this once about who their and is, and they defined it to me as someone with the gravitas to come in, perhaps even only for 10 minutes, and
Yeah,
instantly they bring something with them the second they
yes,
appear on the screen. And you're an and. I mean, I genuinely think
yeah,
that's a huge compliment.
yes, yes, no, and I insist on. Sometimes they want to put me up front, and I go, no, I'm not carrying this. I'm and put me
Yeah.
at the end.
I
Uh,
love that.
um, it's interesting, yeah. But so, I mean, look, I did this movie playing Rupert Murdoch. I had to
Yes,
wait until
yes,
right at the very, very end of and of course, everybody is waiting.
yeah,
what's he gonna do? And it was so much fun, and especially
yeah,
working with Lithgow, who I love. Great, great guy. It was such a nice man, and it was a lot of fun doing that. But so and also I did a little bit in this thing. Oh God, with June Squibb,
you on about Thelma,
Thelma.
which is it's on my list to ask. It's
Oh, you
like
haven't
one of the
seen it? Have you
best.
seen it?
It's brilliant. It's one of the best and most underrated films of the last 5 years. Thelma is.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's lovely. And
Yeah.
there again, I'm working with Richard Roundtree, who was,
Yes. Was it his last role? I think it was.
yes, no, no. I worked with him one more time, or was it after or before? I know. I think it was before. So
Yeah.
I think it was his last role. So I mean, Richard Roundtree, in the '60s, God, Shaft. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And then I did this thing called Moving On with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin and
Yeah.
Richard Roundtree. And I go, wow, Richard Roundtree. And I'm sitting outside some house we were shooting in Pasadena. and we're sitting in these chairs. He's got a, big stogie, smoking his
Yeah.
cigar, and we're just reminiscing away. The next minute, I'm on this other thing, this Thelma, and I walk in and I go, oh my God, Richard Roundtree again. I went, we haven't seen each other. I mean, we've known about each other for 50 years, and now we can't stop bumping into each other. What's going on? Are you following me or something? I was teasing him. He sadly passed away, but that was his last film. Nice man.
Oh, I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, one further thing just on the Partisan is the director of it, James Marquand. I wonder if you can just say a word or two about him, because it appears you're working with him again on another
I
project.
love him. We did a movie called Dog and Bull.
Yeah,
You
that's
remember
the
what
pub, isn't it?
the pub
That's
was
the pub.
called?
Is that what the film's named after?
It was the Bull and Dog. He went and researched it. He goes and he sends me a script. We were talking about it. He said, what do you want to do? I went, I don't know. I don't want to. When people say, what do you want to do? I say, nothing. I just want a good meal. I don't know. What? I don't know. And I said, all right, always been fascinated about somebody hiding in plain
Yeah,
sight. He came up with this thing. I get the script. It's called Dog and Bull. I went, what? So he'd been looking at the same thing you've been looking at and figured it
yeah.
out. So I love him. We did that film together. I think with another one in the pipeline. I just really, he's just a great guy, and I love him. And I knew his dad. So his
Richard,
dad,
what? Yeah,
yes,
Jagged
I
Edge,
knew his
Return of the
dad. I
Jedi. Yeah,
had dinner with him in Hollywood when I first went there. I remember meeting him and stuff. And I was telling this to James that when Donald Sutherland passed away,
mm,
my tribute to him, my silent tribute to him, was to watch a wonderful performance that he gave in The Eye of the Needle, directed by
yes,
James's
yes.
dad. And it was with Kate Nelligan in it too, and
It's a
Christopher
great film.
Casanova, weirdly. But Donald was brilliant in it. It was really a terrific movie. And I hadn't seen it, since the 60s, whatever.
Reading lots of interviews with you beforehand, it seems the same three or four films tend to come up in them. I'm just curious, is there a film that you've done that people don't ask about that you'd like them to? I look at maybe The Company or some of the work you've done with Robert Altman, that kind.
Oh, I love that film. I mean, I never think about it because, I mean, that was Altman, it was the small orchestra, not the big orchestra, the full Altman thing. But it's a beautiful film. He
Yeah,
reveres ballet dancers. He loves dance. And, when Nev Campbell came to him, he couldn't resist doing it. And I just love playing that part. It was based on this real guy, but we couldn't call him Arpino
yeah,
because Arpino, I'll tell you exactly why, because he had the most shocking wig that was so obvious. It was almost a jaw dropper. You almost went, huh? I mean, it was so bad. And I
yeah,
thought, how can I play Arpino? I don't want to humiliate the guy by wearing a terrible rug. And I talked to Bob, and we went, you're right. We'll change the name. We'll change the name. But it's basically Arpino without the rug. And anyway, that there are two performances that I really love of mine that
yeah.
really I shot in the Soviet Union.
Okay.
One I shot in Russia called The Assassin of the Tsar, which
Yeah,
is it's about really of course, the killing of the Romanovs, but it's the man who does it, the assassin, not the
yeah,
assassination of, the assassin. It was this man who was a photographer in Ekaterinburg
yeah.
who got the nod from Lenin to do it. And But the interesting thing about this, and I believe I'm still the only foreign actor to play a Russian in a Russian film. I still don't think, I may be wrong, but I can't think of one. And this was a Russian
That was
film.
early 90s, wasn't it? That was
Yeah, exactly. It's a stunning film.
yeah.
If you could see it, it's a real interesting film.
It's
I
on my
think there's
list.
a DVD of it somewhere.
It's on my
There.
list. I will
Okay,
find
here's
it and I'll
another one
track
for
you
you
back
then.
down. Yeah,
Here's
go on.
another one. Here's another one that I think is one of the most interesting things I've ever done.
Yeah,
And it's playing a serial killer, and it's called Evelenko, that was
yeah,
shot in we shot it in Kiev in Ukraine.
yeah,
And that, so because it's about a man who's literally a pedophile, a murderer, over 100 kids, and a cannibal,
yeah,
I, I decided I could not go home with this character. So I did sort of what Olivier used to do, which is I I did it outside in rather than inside out. Normally when I work, I get the emotional feeling and then
yeah,
it comes out. This way, the exterior was in place first, and
yeah,
then I found the core of it when the walk and the look. And I think it's one of the most interesting things I've ever done. It's one of my proudest, and nobody ever saw it, of course. But I don't really care about that. I did it. That's it.
Where did you
Somebody will
shoot
find it
it?
when I'm
Was that
well gone and go, my God. Yeah.
where did you film that? Was that filmed way away from home as part of the
Yeah.
externalizing
Kiev.
process? Yeah. Oh, you
In,
said yeah. Oh, you shot it there.
yeah. Yeah. And
I've just
of
found it. So
course,
that's 2004 film for people listening, written and directed by David Grieco.
yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliantly written. It's from a book that he wrote called The Communist Who Ate Children. And what he did, I think, which kicked the psychosis in this character,
Yeah,
it was the disbandment of communism. One day they woke up in the Soviet Union and they were told they were no longer communists.
yeah,
And this sent this character into such a form of psychosis and denial of personality, and that he worked for the railroad so he could get
yeah,
around. And it's a fascinating. It's not a slasher film. There's no blood in it, but
yeah.
it's more psychological. And Ronnie Pickup came and did a part, and I'm very proud of it. In fact, if I ever have a retrospective, I always go, I want that one. I go, oh, what? Oh.
So that film is Evelenko again, just to anyone listening from 2004. Malcolm McDowell, I've horribly overrun my time, I'm
Oh,
afraid, and
really?
huge.
Oh, no, you haven't.
I'm about to be shot if I talk too much longer. I'm sure there's someone behind me, but this has been an absolute. I don't think I've had a conversation that's gone from Burscough to Crossroads to Peter Sellers to Russia to the Partisan to just and genuinely, please
Well, the
find a way to
nice
get
thing
that.
was we didn't even mention Clockwork Orange.
Deliberately so. I
How
look at what you've
lovely.
been asked. I look at what you've been asked and cross those off the list, and let's go as left field as possible. Malcolm McDowell,
Exactly.
keep
Now I don't
making,
have to talk about that again.